Yo, what's up, guys? This is the Evolutionary AV's back again with another deck profile. Now, it's been a while since I've uploaded. I've done a couple of live streams here and there, just chilling out. But it's been a while since I've uploaded like a deck profile. Like, it's been a while getting back into Pokemon in general here. But after a little while, I did finally make this deck. We did a couple deck profiles on this before on my channel, but this is pretty much the final one before rotation. So this is post rotation. So this is with of course, with Cynthia's and all that. This isn't tag team forward yet. Until Worlds happens or we forget what happens that. Then this is basically how the deck's gonna be. Now once Worlds comes, it's gonna be tag teaming forward. No, team up forward. I'm dumb. Not tag team. It's gonna be team up and forward. So with that, I think Umbreon and Darkrai is still going to be standard. I might have to look at that, but a lot of these cards will not be standard, so I will have to change the deck again, or I might even leave it the same and see what I can do with some newer cards, because I have added some cards into this deck. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So, of course, starting off with the Pokemon. We're actually playing quite a little bit of Pokemon in here. Uh, Mostly support, but we got our main attacker, of course, starting off with the Umbreon and Darkrai GX. We got the promos here. They look really, really nice. I love the promos. I still haven't even gotten the full arts of the regular ones yet, but these ones look really nice. But anyway, Umbreon Darkrai GX, pretty good. 270 HP, Black Lance, does 150 and does 60 damage to one of your opponents. Benched EO2 GX. The only thing that's going to make this card pretty irrelevant is because we're getting into the age where Pokemon Vs are getting into the format. So there's a Pokemon V deck out there. This will be completely like kind of nullified with the sniping ability, which is what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to do a lot of damage to the active Pokemon or even knock it out, and then do some damage to the bench so that you could soften it up for another knockout. Then of course you got the Dark Moon GX. So with that one energy on it, you basically keep your opponent from using any trainers, supporters, stadiums, any of that nonsense. So that's pretty good, but with 6 energy on this Pokemon, you use Dark Moon GX, you can automatically knock out an opponent's Pokemon and still get the effect off where they won't be able to activate anything, which will really set them back. Now, the Dark Moon GX is still pretty good, even against Vs, but the Black Lance against V Pokemon will not have any effect, so just remember that when you're playing this. So that's going to be our main attacker. And then, of course, we're going to have our secondary attackers here. So we got one Greninja and Zoroark GX with Dark Pulse. So this is late game mostly. So when you use this attack late game, let's say you have 9 or 10 energy out, this attack will do 30 times the amount of darkness energy attached to all your Pokemon. And it's really, really good. So, and then of course you got Dark Union. So put 2 of any combination of GX or Pokemon EX that are Dark type Pokemon from your discard pile to your bench. And if this Pokemon has at least 1 extra energy attached to it, which isn't that hard to do with this deck. In addition to this Pokemon's attack cost, attach 2 energy cards from your discard pile to each Pokemon that you put on your bench in this way. So it's not bad. Really, really good for comebacks, but you don't really want to use this. In fact, most of the time you gotta have your Umbreon and Darkrai out there, and if you do bring this out, this will most likely be your kind of win condition or how you're gonna deal a lot of damage to force your opponent to have to do something, so then you can get your win condition. But you're only running one of it, and it looks really nice. I got the alternate art, and I got 2 full arts, so but I like the alternate art better. Next, this is a newer card we're playing in the deck, so we are playing a one line of Zaple IV. This card might just be a deck on its own, but I put it in this deck especially since we're using sniping in it. So we got our first attack, put a trainer card from our discard pile to our hand, not bad, but we're not using it for that. We're using this card, and it's another late game one where you have a lot of damage out, and maybe even mid game. But Crazy Claws, 2 Darkness energies. This attack does 10 plus 16 damage for each damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. That is crazy damage. So we're doing 10 plus 60. So since it's 60 damage for each damage counter on your opponent's Pokemon, let's say you have 2 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon somehow. That's 120 damage just with that, and 130 plus 10. Imagine 6 damage counters or more than that. That's a one shot on pretty much almost every Pokemon in the game unless they got 300 HP. And even then, if you've already done damage to them to the point where you're able to get them in KO range, this Pokemon will be a really, really good comeback mechanic. And it's just really, really good. And it's only 2 darkness energy, so not bad at all. It's like that's easy to get done. The only thing that's weakening about this is its HP, but then again, this is late game, mid game, maybe even early game. Get some damage out there if you need to, but you really don't want this to be out in the active. You want to save this until later. So another late game attacker we have right there. Next up for our support Pokemon, we have, of course, the Weavile GX. This is going to be the way we move our energy around. So we got the Claw Slash for 130, of course, also. And then we got the GX move, which we won't really be using that much because Dark Moon is what we want to get down. But search for your deck for any number of basic Pokemon, put them onto your bench. Not bad. But at the same time, we want to use Dark Moon. So this is kind of a last resort thing. But then again, if you do have to use this GX move, you might as well scoop because at that point, you might as well, you might not have anything done at that point. So it might be too late to come back, especially what we got in the format. Next up, we're also playing a 3-line of Sneasel. So, be able to get our Sneasels out there and evolve into Weavile. Now, I was going to play a 3-line of Weavile too, but it got a little bit clunky to the point where I was drawing it when I needed to, but when I didn't need to, I was drawing into it, and I just didn't need it. You only need at least one Weavile on your bench and another Weavile in your deck or something like that, just in case the first one gets knocked out. Though we have recovery tools in this deck to bring back Pokemon, most likely that's going to be the only one you're going to need out. Next, we're also running a 1-line of Ditto Prism Star, pretty standard for any deck that uses a lot of evolutions. And then, of course, we're also playing a 2-line of the Savoli GX. This is a pretty good card, pretty much artillery for back in the black and white days. Discreet load, basically before you attack, you may draw until you have 5 cards in your hand. If you have 2 of these on your bench, this is even better. But most likely you're only going to have 1 of these, but there'll be rare times where you have 2, so they'll be able to draw your cards out. Now, of course, you got Brave Buddies, which is pretty much the old Gallade attack, where if you played a supporter card from your hand during this turn, you do 50 plus 70 damage, and that's 120, not bad. But we also got the Silver Knight GX, so your opponent's active Pokemon in Ultra Beast is knocked out. So this could be another alternative, though it doesn't have the same effect as Dark Moon, where you could stop your opponent from using items, supporters, and all that stuff. But it's still another alternative, just in case a person's using a Ultra Beast deck, which, I mean, during this format, isn't really seen that often, but it's still an option. So, and it's only colorless energy, so that's anything. And of course, we're playing a 2-line of Type Null. Now, I don't know if this one's expanded or not. I think it's not. I think that's Crimson Invasion, though, so I might have to take that out. But even if I did, I still have the Dale Prism Star we could use and probably take this out for something else. But we're still definitely running 2-line of Type Null to make sure that we get the Savali out when we need to. Alright, and last but not least, for our support Pokemon, we already know who it is. The one and only Naganadel with a charging up ability. For those of you who don't know what this Pokemon does, once during your turn, when you attack, before you attack actually, you may attach a basic energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. And it even got some decent attack turning point. If you have exactly 3 prize cards remaining, this attack does 80 damage, which is not hard to do, especially with tag teams being mostly part of the format now. 3 prizes is not hard to get, so. Alright, next up we got Poipole, so we're running a 3-line of these, of course, and you kind of just want to get your Naganados out. And honestly, when it comes to Pokemon, your bench kind of want to look something like this. So this will want to be your active, and then you want to at least have 2 to 3 of these on your bench, 1 Savali, and then maybe a Weavile and maybe another Pokemon to help back you up with that. Or maybe even another Umbreon and Darkrai. So your bench wants to at least kind of look like this. At the most. This is what your bench wants to kind of look like. So you got draw support, you got your energy recovery, you got your movement energy, and then you got your attackers. That's kind of what you want your bench to look like. But other than that, that's pretty much it for the Pokemon. Move all this out of the way. Alright, so moving on to our supporters, I'm going to get through these pretty quickly because we're already 9 minutes in. But then again, I'm trying to explain the deck to the point where you'll be able to play it at least decently. But anyway, supporter-wise, we're playing a 4-line of Cynthia, so shuffle your hand to your deck, draw 6, not a bad card. This pretty much become the staple of, Pokemon in general, for at least standard. And then moving on, we're also playing a 3-line of Cynthia and Caitlyn here. So this is going to be helping to bring back your supporter cards. And if you want, you can also discard a card, which is most likely going to be an energy, so you can retrieve it with that Naganadel and then draw 3 cards. So it's also another draw supporter that you can use. Next up, we're also playing a 3-line of Mallow and Lana. So this card you definitely want to play in your deck 3 of, because you want to be able to heal the damage off your Umbreon and Darkrai. And if you even need to, switch them out. So It has two effects: switch your Pokemon when you're on your bench, so it's not bad with that. And then to top it all off, if you play this card, you could discard 2 cards from your hand, and if you do, heal 120 damage from the Pokemon that you move to the bench. So you can kind of prevent your opponent from getting knockouts with this card. So not bad at all. I mean, unless you're playing Reshizard. Reshizard does too much damage. So you'd have to put up a fresh Pokemon that at least has over 230 HP in order to survive something from that. But other than that, it still is a way to deny your opponent prizes and heal your Pokemon up. Now moving on to items, we're also playing a 3-line, a Cherish Ball. So this is pretty much the main staple of the deck that you want to be able to search your GXs with. We're also playing a 3-line of Mysterious Treasure. We got the pretty good ones. We got the promos. They look really nice. So this card's going to be helping to search your Naganadals. And yeah, discard some Dark Energy along the way. Next up, we're also playing a 3-line of Great Catcher. Now, we won't be using this card a lot, but we want to use this card in pivotal moments where when we need to be able to take knockouts then and there, especially on tag teams. This card is especially important for that. So, really, really good card there. And then moving on, we're also playing a 2-line of Pokemon Communication so that we can ditch a Pokemon we don't need on our hand and put it on that we do need in our hand. And then moving over, we're also playing a 2-line of Pokegear 3.0 to make sure that we're able to get our supporters. So as you can clearly see, we're not playing a lot of supporters. We're playing only a 4-line of Cynthia, 3-line of Cynthia and Caitlyn, and 3-line of Mal and Lana. You want to make sure that mostly you want to be able to get your Cynthias, so then you'll be able to draw your cards perfectly. So that's why we're running these. And also Cynthia and Caitlyn will be good, just in case you need to bring back any of your draw support. So it's not a bad card. And then we're also playing a 1-line of Ordinary Rods. Like I said before, we have ways to get our Pokemon back. I'm planning to try and run 2 of these at the most, because this Pokemon can shuffle up to 2 Pokemon from your discard pile into your deck, or shuffle 2 basic Pokemon energy cards from your discards from your deck. Now, most likely you're going to be using the first effect, because we already have Pokemon to bring back energy in the first place. So that's what this card is for. And then moving over to stadiums, we are playing a 2-line of Dark City and a 1-line of Chaotic Swell and Viridian Forest. So Dark City is pretty self-explanatory, so you want to have this out so that you can free retreat your Dark Pokemon anytime you need to do that. Chaotic Swell is kind of situational. You kind of want to use this against decks that you can afford to use it against, like, Power Plant decks, because Power Plant will pretty much shut this deck down if you let it sit there too long. So your opponent is playing Power Plant, this will be a really, really good card to use, because not only will it get rid of your opponent's stadium, but then to top it all off, then if they wanted to get, like, let's say another Power Plant out, then they would have to get rid of this Chaotic Swell while on top of that sacrificing their own stadium. So it's really good for that, but other than that, you don't really need to use it that much. You could probably discard it if you know your opponent is not playing Power Plant. And then to top it all off, we're also playing a Viridian Forest, so this is another great way to get energy into the discard pile, and also search out energy and put them into your hand. But yeah, that's pretty much it for stadiums. And then moving on, we are playing a 12-line of energy here, all darkness. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the deck. I'm pretty much going to be keeping it this way unless I decide to make any further changes. Like I said, Ordinary Rod, if you need to, play 2. I'm thinking about doing that, but for now, this is the way the deck's going to be. So, hope you guys enjoyed, and this is going to be the Evolutionary Eevee signing off. Peace, and hope you have a good day.